Yes, once more and with feeling, the old Pertex Stadium grooves to a red and black beat for the last time. And if Western Sydney Wanderers can see off Brisbane and tee up a third grand final, they might just start the demolition job here by rocking the joint to its foundations. Raw say this atmosphere lifts them, and after their get out of jail act last week, who would dare bet against a fourth grand final for the Raw? The smell of the grand final is in the air in Parramatta. Let the sparks fly. But good luck against this lot in the stands at least. On the park, it is bound to be a much more even affair. Let's take a check on the teams for you, starting with the Wanderers, who are unchanged from the team that won in Wellington a fortnight ago. So Brendan Santalab starts at the point of the attack for the third consecutive match, and Andrew Redmayne holds off the claims of Liam Reddy in goal. Mark Bridge makes his 224th A-League appearance, equaling Archie Thompson in 6th spot on the all-time list, but he's now without a goal in his last 7, his longest drought of the campaign. Just the one change to the Raw team that started against Victory last week. Brandon Borrello returns in place of Tommy Orr and makes his 50th appearance for the club. Jade North makes his 34th finals appearance if you include NSL and A-League stats combined. Top scorer Jamie McLaren hasn't scored in his last 3. Overall, the Raw squad holds the edge in finals experience. Collectively 112 games to the Wanderers 68. Dario Vidicic should see some game time today against one of his former clubs. Enrique Roars, smoky off the bench. He, of course, scored the winner in the grand final between these two a couple of years back. And Tony Popovic looking for the club's 50th win in the A-League today. Has been a remarkable turnaround from last year when the Wanderers finished 9th. Since the start of pre-season, he brought in 13 players and released 19. And you have to say, it's worked. John Aloisi can point to similar turmoil at the start of the season. In his case, off-field dramas that saw the club itself in grave peril. Full credit there to him and brother Ross for keeping the team on track. And wouldn't a grand final in his home city next week be a nice reward? Well, it's a thunderous noise, befitting of finals football. Big, big prize at stake. Who will it be? Just 1 point between them in the table in the regular season. Most people finding it difficult to split. We're about to find out. It is the 55th and final Wanderers match at Pertex Stadium in its current form. One of the biggest of the lot, and one that is very, very difficult, as I say, to pick a winner, Andy Harper.
Yeah, g'day, Simon. I'm with you. I'm just looking forward immensely to the 90 minutes, possibly more, that's going to unfold in front of us. Two exceptionally good football teams, very well prepared and coached. The commitment running through both teams is of the highest order, and I think this is going to be something to savour.
Both teams like to play possession football, to play out from the back. Finals football sometimes brings out the spicier side of the game, especially when so much is on the line. Scott Jamieson holding off Dimitri Petratos, who's in rare form at the moment, and earning his team a throw-in. In a single period for Western Sydney, but it was way off beam with that one. There's those two again, North and Santalab. Looks like it's going to be the left boot of Scott Jamieson to try and swing it in between goalkeeper and defenders. It's not bad, helped on towards Topo Stanley, who couldn't quite reach it. Lovely release by Corona. Corey Brown just showing too much of it to Castellin, who was back defending quick smart. It's a day for that sort of diligent work, even from the attacking players. Oh, Santalab has absolutely put his boot through that at the expense of a corner. Talking of arms, there's the usual push and shove. Andrew Redmayne has James Donachie stationed right in front of him, and he's a tall figure, Donachie. Corona's delivery, looking for Broich at the near post. And what have we got here?
Handball.
Handball.
Yeah. No problem. Great pick, Peter.
Good decision.
And there was a hush around the stadium because no one really knew what was going on. The referees.
Least of all me.
And Brisbane, through Petrados, will look to go clear.
Well, a big chance for Brisbane to strike early. Dimitri Petratos from 11 metres against Andrew Redmayne. And he scores, fires it into the roof of the net. And Dimi Petratos, who grew up in Western Sydney, has plunged a dagger into the heart of the Wanderers. Brown. McLaren is onside here, and he's got the wrong side of Alberto. Just a little nudge into the back of the striker. Wanderers feel hard done by it. But again, I think that was a good decision.
It's a clear decision. It's stupid defending from Alberto, who's otherwise been very impressive this season, has made a good start here tonight.
Let's see how they deal with the free kick. Corona again on set-piece duty. Oh, and in he goes! They've got a second! I think Thomas Broich got the final touch. And Brisbane, incredibly, before we've reached the 20-minute mark, are 2 goals to the good.
Yeah, I think it's an own goal, Simon. It is. Oh, it's poor old Andreu. Oh. He's conceded the penalty for goal number 1, and his derriere helps him to goal number 2. It's disaster time for the Wanderers. In some way, they've brought it on themselves, conceding 2 silly set pieces. And the silver lining on the cloud is they've obviously got plenty of time to turn this around.
Here they come again, though, Brisbane. Borrello going first time. McLaren gets there ahead of Alberto on the turn. It's 3! You couldn't make this up. Jamie McLaren. Brisbane are in heaven here. And maybe they've got 1 foot in the grand final already. Remarkable.
Well, it's ludicrous. It's a tight one for on-offside, but I think Alberto's played him on. Too much speed, Brandon Borrello. It's a cross in hope more than anything. Alberto's there. Andreu again can do nothing. It's really ineffectual defending in the end. And it's a deflection then that gets over the top of Andrew Redmayne. They can't take a trick, the Wanderers. Architects of their own downfall in some part. And Brisbane are flying. Just flying. The Wanderers were clearly dominant in the opening 12 minutes. And then 12 minutes has elapsed hence.
Santalab, that's a free kick, and that's going to be a booking for Jade North. Another little set 2 between those pair. That pair, I should say. Let's see if they can start the long journey back here. It's like Romeo Castlen who fancies the job. Peter Green has marked the line for the wall. Castlen had that early chance. Goes through the wall! What a hit! 3-1! That fairly tore into the back of the net. And the Wanderers have a toehold. And it's raining goals in Parramatta.
Well, I don't know, is that a wall or a sandcastle from Brisbane? If it's a sandcastle, the tide has come in care of Romeo Castlen and washed it away with a strike of real power and precision. I mean, that's not defending anything. It's paper mache from Brisbane.
Corey Brown. Good flick on by McLaren. Oh, and it came heavy off the shin, I think, of Petratos.
What a chance that was brewing for Dimi Petratos. You've just got to be very careful still, the Wanderers. This Brisbane team is such a taste for it on the counter-attack.
Particularly with Jamie McLaren back in goal-scoring form. That 3-goal drought, his longest of the campaign. Now Castellan's taken a tumble, but Santalab is away. One-on-one with Jamie Young. It's Santalab! It's 3-2! Game on in Parramatta!
Will you listen to this? Will you just listen to this? Castellan appealing for the foul. James Donachie will wonder how he got caught so hopelessly second best in that chase. Santalab gets goal side and then stands up Donachie. Young's beaten at the near post. It's a catalogue of errors from Brisbane this time, and Parramatta goes off.
Castellan letting the ball bounce over his head. Picked up by Mackay. This is Broich. Allowed to turn and feed Corey Brown. Oh, it's a disappointing centre from the fullback. Which puts an end to a promising move from Brisbane. Maybe not for much longer. Here's Romeo Castellan. Lovely turn. Mark Bridge sent a bit wider than he'd have liked. Still alive for the Wanderers. Jamison fires it in. It won't find Santalab. Nor Nichols on the follow-up. It's a weak clearance, though. Andreu stretching. Couldn't retain possession of the ball. And this is Brandon Borrello on the charge. Are Brisbane going to end the first half with a flourish? Petratos. He fires one in and it cannons back off Dimas and out for a throw. Well, there we go. Half-time. It has been absolute madness here at Pirtek Stadium. First 45, in the best possible sense of the word. Dimi Petratos from the penalty spot, giving Raw the lead after Andreu had handled the ball. Then Andreu scored an own goal. Jamie McLaren made it 3. Wanderers looked dead and buried. And then a free kick from Romeo Castellan gave them hope. And Brendan Santalab has brought it back to 3-2. Breathless stuff, all to play for in the second half. Don't you just love finals football? Wanderers 2, Raw 3. As it stands, it will be Brisbane travelling to Adelaide next week in the grand final. The Wanderers will have other ideas. Andy Harper, there are shades of the Sydney derby here, round 19 back in season 14-15. Sydney FC led that day by 3-0 after 24 minutes. It was 3-2 at half-time, and the Wanderers ended up losing 4-3.
Yeah, is that when you were thinking back to the last time you saw the Popovich Bulldog chewing a wasp?
Maybe.
It looked frighteningly familiar, but his team's back in it here.
Ignores Jamison. Square for Bridge. Nichols had made an intelligent run. It breaks for Castellan. And now with Santalab. Wanderers pressing to get the equaliser. They've got a corner. Attacking the red and black block in this second half.
Got good attack.
Brisbane have conceded 16 goals from set pieces this season. Flags up.
Offside.
Jamison quicker to it than Petratos. Going around the outside and he'll get the set piece. Brandon Borrello perhaps a little bit unlucky, but certainly contact between him and Jamison. Nichols trying to barge his way through. It is towards Nichols, but getting clear by Corona. Lofted back in by Jamison, nodded down by Topper Stanley. Nichols and Young equal to it. There's a scramble and Castellan 3-3. The comeback complete. Mayhem in Parramatta.
And the free kick from Dimas was difficult enough for Brisbane not to completely clear their lines. And Corey Brown wasn't, he couldn't push out. No, it was Donachie who couldn't push out quickly enough. It kept Topple Stanley onside, and that played the advantage for the Western Sydney Wanderers. He was going to win that header and the scramble that resulted. Well, who else? Romeo Castellan. He's missed a hatful this season, but surely not from 6 yards. Surely not with an equaliser beckoning. And surely not with the red and black hordes cheering him on.
Dug out by Andreu, and now Nichols will be roared forward by the home fans. Castellan, who's on a hat-trick, remember. Romeo Castellan into the box. And fended away by James Donachie. Pinned his ears back, the Dutchman. Space here for Nichols. Away by Donachie, they're hanging on here in Brisbane at the moment.
Wow, that was breathtaking.
Andreu. Bridge, great first touch, Bridge! Oh, what a save by Young! Castellan on the follow-up! Off the uprights! What else can happen? Absolute madness. Well, this is a comeback for the ages by the Wanderers.
That's a free kick conceded by Donachie.
Pertex Stadium going off. Dimas with the free kick. Jamie Young with the punch. He's not quite got the distance he wanted. Drops for Castellan! Hat-trick! 4-3! Astonishing! Absolutely astonishing!
Well, it's another set piece. It's a litany of them, not really dealt with. Dangerous from Dimas, but it hung. Young was strong and the punch was airborne. Thomas Broich had no idea where the ball was. A man of his quality and experience, he's handed the advantage to Romeo Castellan, who, believe it or not, couldn't hit the proverbial with a banjo this season. And when it's counted, he's hit a hat-trick. Romeo Castellan.
Mitch Nichols escaping the offside trap, but not hindered. Heavy touch off Borrello. Did he run the ball out? Linesman says no. Dangerous game Brisbane are playing here. And that did go out. It will be a corner for the Wanderers. And James Donachie and Jamie Young almost got in an awful mess there. That's getting the applause of the crowd as he walks across to deliver the latest corner for the Wanderers. 20 minutes away from another grand final. Hung up towards Alberto and it was just flicked away by Jade North.
That's a...
In fact, it must have come off Alberto last.
A superb piece of work from Jade North. He had two significant challenges confronting him in the form of Topo Stanley and Alberto, and he did enough.
He used Bridge as the decoy runner. Here is Mark Bridge, trying to weave his way through, and I appeal for handball, the Wanderers. The decision's gone the other way. Donachie. He'll continue his run forward, and Tommy Orr with his first involvement. Got around Jamison first time, crosses in towards the near post. And it's met well by Alberto, and then there's a foul by Orr on Jamison. Still a bit to go before that becomes reality, and Enrique trying to change the script, now with Tommy Orr. Fires it across for Corey Brown. Brown's going to have a dig. We saw him score his first A-League goal with the aid of a bit of a deflection a few weeks back against Newcastle.
It's not a bad option, that, from Corey Brown. Yeah, the attack looked like it was opening up down the right-hand side, and the ball didn't get delivered as it needed to.
Corona. Hervas. Good movement by the Spaniards. Little slip through for Tommy Orr. Enrique on the left. It's Enrique, and here's McLaren! Can you believe this? It's 4-4! Staggering! Just staggering! 10 minutes to go! Brisbane back from the brink!
Well, they've been building a case impressively. And a pass from a seemingly innocuous position to Hervas, who's in between the defence and midfield. He releases the pacey Tommy Orr. It's a miss hit. It's nothing more or less than a miss hit from Enrique. But what a perfect miss hit. Straight into the path of their top scorer, the Supermac, Jamie McLaren, and it's all square.
Wow. Nichols might have been held back. Advantage played. Here's Castellan, chance! Jamie Young stands up. Goodness me.
It's incredible. It's ridiculous. But it's fantastic to watch.
Tommy Orr. Going back close looking for McLaren, who is on a hat-trick, of course, as well. Enrique. He'll get a second go at it. Plenty forward for Brisbane in this attack. Herbas launching himself at it. Mackay trying to pivot. And it's scooped away to safety by Andreu. All of a sudden, it's Brisbane asking the questions. Don't take your eye off this one for a second. They've got 5 minutes to change that. One of them, perhaps. This is Hingert. Brisbane perhaps looking the more likely at the moment. Tommy Orr fires one in. Andrew Redmayne's had to make a save. There we go.
85 minutes in.
Is there to be a knockout blow? Or are we set for the extra half hour? Dimas looking to pick out one of his teammates. Topper Stanley was one of them. And he got underneath it. They might steal in for what would be a fourth grand final. And they're first on the road. Corona's free kick came off Herbas and behind.
Here we go.
There we go. The end of a quite extraordinary game of football. Brisbane Roar thought perhaps they were headed to the grand final. They led by 3-0 after just 23 minutes. Wanderers pegged them back to 3-2 at the break. And then 2 goals by Romeo Caslin, which completed his hat-trick, put Wanderers within sight of the showdown in Adelaide next week. But not so. Jamie McLaren, with his second of the game, made it 4-4, the highest ever scoreline in a game of finals football. And we're going to have extra time and potentially penalties to settle it here in Parramatta. Tired bodies. They've got to push themselves through it. There's such a big prize at the end of it. Brisbane getting us back underway. 2 periods of extra time, 15 minutes each. And if they're still level, then the dreaded spot kicks.
There's still time to make a dramatic contribution.
Here's Shannon Cole's first contribution. Linking up with Dario Vidicic. That's a good effect too. What about the cross? It's really good. Bridge! Well, he did everything right, Mark Bridge. Headed it down and back across Jamie Young, but that's a fine stop. Andreu invited forward. Outside of the boot for Caslin. Flicks across goal, and Young impeded, was he, as he went to get the ball? Yes, by Cole.
Well, that one hung.
Here's Tommy Orr, though, for Brisbane. Enrique outside him. McLaren has peeled off towards the near post. It's Jamie McLaren on a hat-trick. Tried the little dink, and he'll get a corner.
Oh, clever option.
James Donachie causing mischief. Corona is towards Donachie, who got a little portion of it, but not enough. For Dimas. Jamison. Give and go, but Shannon Cole pirouettes beautifully. Lovely football. Vidicic! Palmed away by Young. Still alive for Mark Bridge. And Vidicic! 5-4! Utter madness! Off the bench and onto the score sheet. And could that be the goal?
But the goal that splits the teams almost halfway into extra time is a beautiful football goal. Great turn from Shannon Cole. Amazing contribution from Mark Bridge, the 1-2 with Dario Vidicic. Jamie Young can only palm. Mark Bridge stays alive in the contest and squares the ball to the marquee man Vidicic, who does the business.
Wanderers in no hurry. Why would they be? Belted forward by Tommy Orr. Is there time for Brisbane? No! Full-time whistle. That was an epic contest, but it is the Wanderers, just as it was here 3 years ago. A third grand final for Tony Popovic and his team as they bid farewell to the old Pertex Stadium on a winning note. But boy, what a game and what a performance they had to put in to see off a brave Brisbane Roar. And I tell you what, when they write the history of finals football as to what you want from a game, this will be the template. At times, you almost ran out of superlatives, Andy Harper. This was an epic, one of the best ever.
It was a great comeback from the Wanderers.
Party time in Parramatta for the home fans at least. Full-time scoreline after extra time. Western Sydney Wanderers 5, Brisbane Roar 4.